All right, it's a wonderful Tuesday afternoon at the tent here on the corner of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street and 30th here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We are still in the midst of our 30-day tent campaign. It's been an awesome opportunity for us to kind of get out of our buildings and get out of the four walls of wherever we are and get out and get to know people in the hood. And so today, this is Pastor G, who's sitting down with some of my great friends who I have met since I have been out here. We've talked on podcasts once before. We're going to do it again today and share a little bit about what our morning has been like. Is that all right? A little bit about what our morning has been like. So, brothers, if you don't mind, this is the second time on the podcast. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves so that people know who they're listening to today. Go right ahead.
How you doing? My name is Charles Blacknell. I just moved to Indianapolis probably about like a few weeks ago. I'm from Gary, Indiana. I came in contact with Pastor G about 2 weeks ago, and I'm supporting them in every means.
How you doing? My name is Mark, and I've been here for about over a year. I met Pastor G for about over a year, approximately, and just sitting here, been standing and walking and talking since I've been here, and just sitting here in the podcast trying to get some things.
I'm stressing him out. Pastor G's doing like 5 different things, and I'm stressing Mark out. He's looking at me like, okay, what you doing, Pastor? I'm doing me, man. I'm just doing me. You know, here's what we did today. Charles and Mark, when they came in this morning, Pastor G got up, and I was just like, let's just take a walk. Let's just take a walk down the street, and let's talk. And so that's what we did. We got to walking, and we were talking about several things, and I want to kind of share and put on this platform a little bit about our conversation as we was walking down the street. Y'all want to start at the beginning, or you want to just get to some hot topics? Okay, we
start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning. Okay, well, one of the things that we've been running into since we've been here on the corner is addiction. And those who, whether they come to the tent or to the epicenter, or if we go out and we meet people, y'all know how we do. We outside. People don't necessarily come in. There's some people, though, that when we go out of the building, we run into who clearly are struggling with some type of addiction. We had two guys on the side of the building yesterday who were laid out, and the assumption was they was on this Katie stuff. All right, y'all familiar with this stuff? This is some bad stuff on the street.
What you say, Spice?
Katie. Yeah,
Never
Katie.
heard of that.
And it's evidently this is a drug that is being not only creating, sort of made up, but they're lacing it with like rat poisoning. And so it's some bad stuff. So these dudes was laid out just right over. This was just last night. And so some people came over and they were saying, well, Pastor G, we got some guys over here laid out. We don't know if we should call 911 or whatever. So I went over. Of course, I'm praying, but I'm not just praying. I'm also doing something about it. But this is the kind of environment that we are in. And what we're finding is that people are saying, Pastor G, Charles, Mark, I really want to get past my addiction. I really want to get past this stronghold, but the environment that I'm in, the people that I'm around, right? And you talked a little bit about a solution about safe haven kind of thing, but let's talk a little bit about what do people need to do, or what kind of suggestions should we have for people who want to get by it, but their environment is so toxic that it's very difficult to get past their addiction because literally it's where they live. Talk to us.
It's crazy to say, but in substance abuse, they teach you how to be able to identify your triggers. And sometimes your triggers might be your neighborhood, might be your friends.
Yeah.
It might be anything.
Yeah.
you got to be able to identify what your trigger is. A lot of the individuals around their trigger is their neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Maybe if they can get away from this environment, that they might be able to wean themselves off drugs, whatever they is on. Mm-hmm. But we spoke about the safe haven place today, and peer pressure go all the way around. It don't matter how old you is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Peer pressure is just out there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people is facing a lot of peer pressure every day they wake up. Because some of them ain't got no jobs. Some of them don't know how they go pay their next bill. Mm-hmm. So what happened is they use drugs as some type of form of
escape,
to escape. Exactly, to escape. And, like I say, you got to be able to identify what your trigger is. But maybe some people do identify what their trigger is. Mm-hmm. But they still need that extra push, which is somebody like us to be able to
and direct them.
Yeah. Into what, direction they need to take. But in order for us to be able to point them to that direction, we ought to be able to help them when they go towards that direction.
Right. So we can't just point. We got to help them get to whatever that is. Now, what we were talking about, we were kind of pointing at some things in this community that we were saying, well, man, if we could get the barrier of entry to that house, that abandoned house, or as you pointed out, that building, why can't we, let's talk about that, because you pointed at the 888, and you said, like, why can't we, what were you thinking when you were pointing at that 888? What were you thinking?
Well, like I said, I've been here for like over a year, and since I've been here, I seen, a situation about this was the stores that they wanted to go to, now that they took it up and taking control of whatever they're doing, it's like they don't have nowhere to go to, you could use that. What made me point that out is ones could simply turn around and use the upfront right there as a quote-unquote safe haven or another storefront where ones can come to instead of letting it either get demolished or taken over from elsewhere, where, like you say, people in the community, you might, like say for instance, laundromats or anything in the community, and help build and help teach or either to bring jobs for ones in the community and to move forward. And it's about, I know we was walking, I know in the forest community, it's about communicating. Only to communicate, then you have to find some unity. That's where you get to community. Like how we sit there and talk to the youngsters that was right, and they tell the same similar stories you went through with the balls and all the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you have to get out there, like you said, instead of wait for one's coming, and you had a good idea to go out and walk and see what's going. Like how you had pointing out the issues about the grass on the corner and how you quit. Call down, it could be the same thing with any other structure or foundation.
So you're basically saying, juxtaposing or bringing together communication and unity in the community, saying that we need to, first of all, get out, communicate with one another, and in so doing, that can create the type of unity. But then in addition to that, what I hear you saying is that we need a place where we can point people, even as we're communicating. So it's like, don't tell me to go across town. Tell me where I can go right around the corner. Tell me where I can go right down the street. And I think that's what I felt you really getting to, because it's right here. It's in the community. It's vacant. It's blighted. And so I don't want to deal with issues so much if I can try to deal with some solutions. And I don't know who's watching, and I don't know who's going to see this, but my prayer is that somebody would see what you and I saw and will understand that the politics and the game plan that people are doing with these properties, these private equity firms, these developers, these politicians, right? Some of these folk who are actually doing the underground economy in the neighborhoods and whatnot. Let's just be clear. We understand what's going on. It's obvious that there's a reason why these buildings are vacant, why they're boarded up, why the bank left and they sold that to a private equity firm. We understand why that happened. But in order for us to get a safe haven, in order for us to get a place where we can provide jobs in the community, in order for us to get a place where that we can respect or that we can put out to help the community, somebody somewhere is going to have to stop playing games with our community. What do I mean? I mean that too many people are using their position to make money pimping our community. That house over there, that house right across the street, vacant, boarded up, been sold for over a decade. That don't have to be that way. Y'all know that. If we had the right code enforcement, we could put more pressure on absentee landlords who all they tell us to do is board it up and cut the grass. They didn't tell us we had to have it occupied. No. We can't have boarded up houses in our neighborhood. Why do I have a burned out property down the street? I have a burned out property because it was vacant and a homeless person was squatting in it, had a fire going, lit the place on fire. Now I got a blight that I can't touch because too many people trying to make money. Here's the deal. I don't know who's watching. I don't know who's going to see this. All right? But we know what's going on. These people are playing games with our community. They're trying to make money and profit off of what we need people to be living in, right? Not renting, but owning, paying a mortgage on. They're playing games with it, and we need it to stop. Why? Because of what you're saying. We need places that people can go in the community to get away from what is causing them to fall back into their addiction.
See, it's funny because, like when I was coming up, I'm 52 years old. And when I was coming up, we had youth centers. We had summer jobs. I've been working since I was probably 16 years old. And I'm 52 years old as we speak. I had summer jobs. Every year I have had a job. But what I'm getting at, when I was coming up, we had places to go, recreation programs. They fed us. Played basketball, football, whatever, baseball all day, every day. And, now, time have changed, but I'm looking at the whole perspective now, Pastor. It's going to take the community to come together to be able to pull this off.
Exactly.
We can't do nothing but suggest.
Right.
That's all we can do.
Right.
But we can lead the forefront to get some believers to come out and see what we're really trying to do.
Exactly.
Like we was talking about that, what's that place, Super 8?
Yeah.
That's you know what? That's my first time ever seeing that building was today. Many times I rode past here. Now that is a good building to be able to have, because set up computer rooms, set up interview rooms. It's a lot of things that you can set up in that building.
I wonder though if the barriers and the challenges that we would have in order, to achieve that, have more. The barriers I'm talking about have more to do with the people who are saying that's not what I want for that corner. So okay, we're gonna let y'all struggle to get that, to make that happen. But the reality is, we're not gonna let it get sold. We ain't gonna let you actually do nothing with it. You ain't gonna be able to build nothing on it. You ain't gonna be able to develop it. You ain't gonna be able to do what you really want to do on it, because until I, as a politician or as a developer or as somebody that's advocating gentrification, which is we want the minorities and the poor people out of here, we're going to let you only do so much until we ready. And when we ready, we're going to come in, scoop it up, and everything that you just talked about is going to go by the wayside because somebody really don't want it. They want it only so, they want it, okay, here's some computers, right? Okay, here's some paint. All right, but just know this is only going to last until we ready to take it over.
But we got to make sure once we lay in, bring that about, that it's going to be a firm foundation from here on out.
That's what we got to do.
Because like I said, I'm from Gary, Indiana, and I'm not going to sit up here and lie. I look at Indianapolis. Y'all think y'all got problems with burying houses? Y'all ain't got no problems.
Right.
Woo!
Yeah, Lake
y'all
County
do not have no problems when it come to burying houses. Let me tell you, from where I'm from, it's probably 23 abandoned houses on every block.
Right.
You got a neighbor on one corner, then you got one in the middle, then you got one on the end. Right. And in between is vacant houses, burnt up houses, boarded up houses, no boarded out houses, and weeds everywhere.
So we have potential.
So, yes, it's very good potentials around here.
Right.
Very.
We just need the people to come together and get behind whatever solutions they want for the community.
That's right.
And we keep hearing,
That's
we need
right.
stuff for the youth. We keep hearing we need something for these addictions. We keep hearing we need, what we need, and it's time for us to come together and say, okay, if it's what we need, let's go make it happen.
It's funny. Next time I go back to Gary, I'm going to try to do a little 2-hour documentary through the whole city. Then I'm going to bring it back and hand it to you and let you go ahead and put it on Facebook Live and show where there's hope here.
Yeah. That's what's up.
There's hope here.
That's what's up.
You got places where ain't no hope.
Yeah.
It's funny. I look at a lot of history channels. I was looking at Gary where 50 years from now, they show ghost towns. Gary, Indiana is one of the ghost towns of USA.
Wow.
Flint, Michigan, too. But it's real funny. 50 years from now, Gary still look the same. Now, how that happen? It still looked the same 50 years ago. Once they did their geographical thing, showed Gary from the next 5 decades, it still looked the same.
Wow.
There's no hope. You got hope here.
Yeah. Now, for those who are watching from Gary, from Lake County, we gonna still keep praying, all right, because we believe that that there is something possible, even in a place like Gary. But certainly, the point is well taken. I've been to Gary before. I've been to Lake County before, and I've seen exactly what you're talking about. We have potential. We have potential to really do some great things, provided the folk come together.
Let me clarify something. Don't get me wrong. I love my city. I love you, Gary.
Rep Gary.
I love you,
Rep it.
for real.
Rep
I'm
it.
219 to the fullest. But politics and tore it up.
Yeah.
And the people from Gary already know that. We had one of the promising cities in this country at one time, what they call the Chocolate City.
Yeah.
Now, population probably ain't even 50,000.
Yeah.
Because everybody leaving.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong. I pray that we can get it right in Gary, too.
Yeah.
And I want to be a part of that. But right now, I'm staying down in that, and I'm trying to support. I'm going to support Pastor G. Yeah. Everybody got a cause in life, and I think this is my cause right now because I've been bouncing back and forth around in a lot of spots. But right now, for to make this my home.
Let's talk a little bit about because what we're really doing is trying to create an example that people can follow to get some things done, whether that be the 888, whether that be the safe haven that we talked about. So let's talk a little bit about the example that we saw where we walked up on this outlot and there was some grass that was cut, and right next to it, it was grass that wasn't cut that looked kind of strange. It's like, why would somebody cut this and not cut that? Then we had to talk about, well, whose responsibility is it for this to be cut? Well, we all know that, as you point out, well, just say what you saw in terms of the sidewalk and all that stuff.
Well, what's the name of that business down there?
Oh, it's an auto repair shop.
What's that on 25th or
25th and MLK?
On 25th and Martin Luther King, we was walking past a tire place that they, fix on cars, whatnot. But the owner, respectable place. But the owner, came out and cut what the city's supposed to be cutting in front of his property. But it was funny because we walked past there, we seen part cut and part not. And Pastor G like, what's wrong with this picture? Somebody didn't do their job. And I'm saying, yeah, they either been lazy or didn't have the right equipment. But to come and find out, the guy who owned the business in front of the where we were standing at, he came out and cut partial of the front, which is part of the city.
Mm-hmm. He's just trying to beautify it, I guess, right?
Because it's his business. So some things just, ones don't know about, you have to wait.
And the funny part about it, when you got a sidewalk and anything towards the street, that's part of the city's business. Mm-hmm. Anything on the other side of the sidewalk is part of whoever businesses is to conduct whatever they need to keep cut or shoveled or whatnot.
Right.
But, it's funny because you didn't pay attention. I don't know. But we walked past where they old church of chicken we was at.
Yeah.
They had that lot clean, cut and everything.
We was talking about that. I saw that like, well, who cut this?
Yeah.
And that's not it. I mean, it's a abandoned
business. But which that's good, though, that they cut it because, like I say, in Gary.
But he loved Gary.
I love you, though. I love you. Maybe somebody looking at this podcast and be like, well, hey, it's time for a change for real.
Yeah. But so here's what we did. I said teachable moment. Let's show folk how to get something done. So what I did was I shot a video of it. I could have took a photo of it. I shot a video of the actual intersection, right? I forwarded that to our councilman, Joe Simpson. He sent it to DPW, Department of Public Works. They jumped on top of it, and it's probably cut now, which is what? It's been 2 hours ago?
Yeah, basically
about 2 hours ago. So it's probably already cut. And so what I really wanted to help people to see is that just because you see something, well, first of all, I wanted to get people to see that we need to take time to pay attention to our community. If you drive past it, you never would have seen it. We were screaming at this lady in the car. How many times we had to scream at her? Hey!
Yeah, about a few times.
Yeah, before she even looked over, because people drive down MLK with blinders on. They don't see to the left and to the right. And we're trying to get people to pay attention to their own community. That's the first thing. We were paying attention. And in paying attention, we saw something that looked kind of like, this don't look right. Made the right phone call, got to the right people, and the right people made phone calls and got it done. It's cut. We're going to go down there in just a minute and see it, take some pictures of it. And we just wanted people to understand actually how to get something done. Now, that dovetails into the conversation we had with the other young man underneath the bus shelter, right? Who wants to take that one? Who wants to take that one?
Well, basically, you actually, you go on and take it, and then I'll finish it off, because I used to be in a situation like that. So
right. you can represent my man. All right, so here's the deal. If y'all know Pastor G, I'm going to talk to everybody. So basically, we saw several young ladies pushing a stroller. And because we got the Pregnant Now What going on, where we're dealing with mothers and babies 2 and under, I'm like, well, let me run across the street and make sure that she knows about Rowley Children's Hospital coming in. So we get across the street. We talk with them a little bit. They're going to invite somebody to the thing. That's good. Well, while we standing there, there's this other young man sitting in the bus shelter. So I go over to him, and I'm saying, bruh, you on your, you about to go to work? He says, no, I'm just trying to get to the other side of town. I said, oh, you going to go to work on the other side of town? He's like, no, I'm going over there for a job interview. Oh, so I'm like, well, who is it with? Work One? What? He's like, no, it's with Goodwill. Cool. I said, well, if that don't work out, come down to the corner to the tent. Let's talk through it, and let's see if we can't find some other opportunities. He says, oh, wow, y'all helping people with jobs. I'm like, well, yeah, but we want to do more than just help people with jobs. And so I said, we have some information down there from a People Ready. And so he's like, oh, yeah, I'm familiar with that. And then he goes in to telling me, well, I tried working with them, but this is what happened. They were playing with my money. I'm like, okay, explain. Well, when you would work, if somebody had your paperwork and they lost your paperwork, then it's your responsibility, and you get penalized where you wouldn't get paid for 2 days while they chase around, and it's not your fault. There are days where they would pay late. You're supposed to get your check. You didn't get your check. You work overtime. You don't get your overtime. So he's sharing all these gaps, and I'm saying to him, well, bro, if this was happening, what you really needed was somebody who could help you advocate to make sure that they did what they were supposed to do, because that's not your fault that somebody else lost the paperwork. And so then my man, then you stepped up and said, hey, I understand where you are, because this was my experience, which I believe helped him to understand that he not only wasn't by himself, but there also were some things that he could do. Talk about it.
Yeah, basically what he was saying, that, like a lot of them places, a lot of them agencies, you can get paid daily, or you can set your account up however you chose to get paid. But a lot of people, when they work for them agencies, they rather get paid after they leave work. So what take place is, if I'm working for Pastor G for 8 hours, Pastor G got to sign off my hours that I work for today.
Give it to you.
So he got to give it to me. Now I got to take it back to the place and turn it in before they can put my money on my card.
Right.
But what took place with the young man was, he was speaking about whoever the supervisor was.
Go that way.
Kept telling him, you can't keep on working overtime because you messing up. Messing with her bonus, and which that ain't right. Because if he working if a company want to keep him an extra 4 hours and pay him for the extra 4 hours, that means he earned them extra 4 hours.
Right.
He worked for them extra 4 hours.
Right.
But, a lot of these companies that you have individuals, running them type of places that does that.
They're really taking advantage of people because they know they can. And I think what we have to get to a place where we understand that like my man said, when I'm calling you about my check, I'm not calling you about giving me an advance. I'm calling you about what belongs to me. I've already worked for that, if that makes sense. I've already worked for it, so where's my money? And I think that people do things to other people so long as they don't think you're going to say anything about it. You're going to do anything about it. And we talked about, y'all come up in here on Thursday when our attorney is here, Pamela Grant Taylor, attorney, when she's up in here, and let's get some attorneys on call to represent our people. Yeah, you get to acting funny, you're going to get a letter. You ignore the letter, you're going to get a phone call. If you ignore the phone call, you're going to get a document that you got to respond to that says you cannot treat people like this. And I think folk need to know that they've got someone that will advocate for them in that way.
And that takes place not only there, in a lot of workplaces. I worked in a lot of workplaces where you got a lack of communication.
Yeah.
Sure. And when you speak about individuals talking about you go mess up my bonus, your bonus ain't got nothing to do with what I work for.
Yeah.
So therefore, whatever overtime I made, that's what I earned.
Yeah.
And it's real crazy about this woman telling this man that, you messing with my bonus. But see, a lot of people is blind to a lot of things. They don't know how to go by the right way, going through the chain of command to be able to let it be known, get what they want, or let it be known, hey, is this right or is this wrong?
Right. And I guess what you're saying is a lot of people don't know their rights as workers.
At all. They so don't.
They don't know their rights as workers. And I'm not sure. We don't have a representative for the Indiana Civil Rights Commission scheduled to come down. We may need to call over there. We've got a new executive director over there right now, and they are the ones that actually you can call when somebody does you wrong.
But
it's
funny.
Got a staff of attorneys that will help.
It's funny because you get hired into a lot of these places that they not going to tell you what your rights is anyway.
No, they don't want you to know it.
At all. So therefore, you be up against whatever.
And that's why you got to know your rights. You got to know your rights, even with regard to. I'm thinking about the Civil Rights Commission right now. They have 7 areas that they advocate on behalf of the public. These are all what's called these 7 areas. Let me give you an example: housing discrimination, right? So if I go to rent a house and it's got a hole in the ceiling, I got a right to demand that the homeowner puts me into someplace else while they fix that hole in the roof, right? You cannot discriminate people based on a protected class. So you can't discriminate against me because I'm African American, which is a protected class. Y'all get that idea. There's other things, workers' rights and things like that they advocate for people for. And folks simply need to know their rights. You can't expect the employer to tell you what you're supposed to have. You got to know what you got when you go in the door so that when they violate it, you remind them. Now, that's going to make you unpopular. You found that out, right?
Yes.
People don't want folk around, these employers who want to take advantage of people. They don't want people around who are going to know their rights and advocate because folk want to treat you. They want to get away with whatever they can get away with.
That's pretty much with anything, really. You know your rights or woke up to what's going on. That's basically
as soon as you woke, they don't want you. And what would they do to get rid of you?
And it's crazy because see, Indiana right to work state. So therefore, when it comes to unions or whatever, you in trouble.
A pickle.
Yes, you are in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Because see now, a lot of these places you go to, it doesn't have a union to back you up.
Yeah. So this is kind of, these are some things. Again, we just walking down the street, y'all. This is us just walking down the street, and some of the things that we saw, we talked about, we pointed out as we were walking down just one street. We spent probably an hour and a half walking, And these are some of the things that we saw while we were there. Again, we talked to somebody about, again, advocating for the employment piece with People Ready. I don't have no problem calling People Ready. I don't have no problem representing. The only thing I do have is making sure that people are telling the truth. Just be honest. You know what I'm saying? I think there's enough blame to go around for everybody. But if we're going to stop some stuff, people can't keep, going through stuff and not saying nothing.
Yeah, because, signs and symbols for the conscious mind. I told you before with my situation, I got fired like 10 years ago at this company I was working for, and they straight out lied. But the funny thing about it, I used my wits to call the company the next day and ask them, I played like I was my own attorney.
Yeah.
And asked him what was the reason why you fired this man.
Yeah.
And to come to find out, he said, man, I ain't had nothing to do with that guy fired. I don't know nothing about it.
Yeah.
It was just my company didn't want me there, and they lied.
Yeah.
And I went to Human Resources, and we took care of the problem.
I believe I got somebody who's either watching on Facebook or listening to the podcast right now who can acknowledge that they have been at a company or have been on a job where when people don't want you there, they will find ways to try to push you out. And I don't think I'm remiss by saying that for minorities, it's even more of a problem being pushed out when people just don't want you there. You don't, quote unquote, fit into the culture. You don't fit, if that makes sense. And so we need to know our rights as workers. We need to know what we can do. We need to know what they can and cannot do so that we can get what we need. Because at the end of the day, if I got an open mouth that needs to be fed, I need to fill that mouth with some food, bottom line. And as a responsible adult, if that's my role, I cannot allow somebody to get in the way of me putting food in that mouth.
And a lot of us need to understand a closed mouth ain't going to get fed.
No. Now you took that right out of my mouth. Right. People don't know the inside. That's an inside joke.
Yeah.
That's an inside joke.
But they be the same way though, like for instance, about 2 weeks or maybe longer, I was walking up to a library up the street, Martin Luther King, and I seen them youngsters out there really getting that library, they propping and stuff together.
Yeah.
Now I come back within a week or a week and a half, I seen that really beautiful. I see how they doing on the yard. I mean, if it takes them youngsters, to do that beautiful.
Yeah.
Man, come on, man.
You talking about Flanner House?
Yeah. I mean, just imagine the ones put their head with adults or ones they're supposed to look up and respect.
Yeah.
Supposed to be on the same level. If you got some youngsters out there, that really, you know how it was. He don't know, how it was looking before they started.
Yeah.
You go over there and see that now, man. They're really doing it. You got people like that's really off it too. You grab a hold of them because they care much about them. They put in work.
Yeah.
Then they asking for free handout. They actually put in work and like what they're doing.
Right.
You grab a hold of them type of individuals and move on forward from
what you're talking about, so people know, Flanner House has put out like a garden, a walking area, or I believe it's one of the African symbols that they actually have out on the ground. It's got flowers, it's got pebbles, it's got bricks and grass. It's really, really nice. And it appeared as though the young people were cleaning up. Several young people, it had to be a couple dozen, cleaning up, working in the garden. And I commend Brandon Cosby for the vision, first of all, and the work that has been put in to make that happen. Go ahead.
Yeah,
well, let me say this, and the point you were making is that we need that to transfer from our young people to some of our adults to say, we all need to take part in that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was very beautiful because I liked the landscape that they possessed it. He was telling me, my cousin was telling me a couple of weeks ago, it wasn't looking like that. So they put a lot of work in between a couple of weeks ago and to today. But them kids, you give them something to do and be constructive about it.
Right.
They'll love it.
We just had a young man came in today who was sitting up. You saw me. Who was sitting up. He wasn't doing that, just sitting here. And what did I say? I said, what do you like doing? What do you want to do? He said, I want to draw. And then we were able to give him something to not only occupy his time, but to get him something to express himself. He was able, even though he had lines, he was able to choose his colors. You know what I mean? He was able to create something that he could say, put his name at the bottom and say, I did that. And that's what putting in work means. When you put in work, right, what you get in return, you can say, I did that. I earned that. I created that. I cut that. I designed that. I colored that. That is my work. And that's all we really trying to say to people on this corner is to stop asking other people to do stuff for you when you can do it for yourself. And as you're doing it, don't let nobody get in the way of you and what you can create.
Yeah, because, see, they got to get put past that point, lost for hope. You know, a lot of people is lost for hope. Yeah. You know, and got to get past that point.
Yeah, got to get past it. And I call it, I ran into a good friend of mine. He just passed away. Got hit by a car, hit and run. Some of y'all know him, Brian Harris. I'll never forget this that Brian Harris told me. He says, we were doing this session over at a place called Recycle Force, awesome company. We were doing this workshop, and we got to talking about what we termed the F-it quotient. The F-it quotient. The F-it quotient is that point that you could arrive at where you are so frustrated, you are so angry, you are so outdone, you are so over the top with something that you no longer care about what you do next. So everything is F-it.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I've been in that situation I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, resumes. How many resumes I done put out, and how many emails I done got back saying thank you for submitting your resume. Your qualifications are great, but right now,
you know, it's funny. I shared this with you. You know, I worked at Fort Lake County Work Release Center for like 4 years. I was a supervisor there, and my job title was I was part of the what you call outreach program, which we went out and I took anywhere from 30 to 40 to 50 guys out daily and spreading them all out through Gary, you know, the surrounding areas, and had them working with different individuals, you know, like the city of Gary, Public Works, you know, all them agencies around the city to help them because they didn't have the manpower to be able to keep up or get this stuff done. But it's real funny because I did this for like 4 years, and I ended up leaving like 2015, and I moved to Minnesota. But it's very funny. I come back, moved back to Gary, and couldn't find a job nowhere in the city in the city at all.
That's frustrating.
And that was real. I was frustrated because the reason why I was frustrated is because I used to get calls Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings. Hey, you think you can get a group of guys for me? I'm off. But I'm doing it because, you know, y'all trying to clean up the community, clean up the city. So I take it upon myself to go to my job, get guys out on my off day when I'm not getting paid. To be able to bring guys out and help y'all on y'all overtime so you can get stuff done around the city. But it's very funny. All the individuals who was in charge of a lot of the different departments, I come back to Gary last year in May, tried to find a job in between a lot of them departments. And what did I get? A swift kick in the butt. Oh, we ain't hiring. But I look around a week later, you hire one of your cousins, or hire one of your friends, or one of your nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I was very, very frustrated.
Yeah. And that can put you in a place. I think what I really hear you saying is that there's a lot of people who are trying.
That's right.
A lot of people who, I remember the point where I had gotten so low because I had received so many rejection emails. And for me, I'm thinking, I got a master's degree. I done taught on the college level, but none of that matters. So you get to a point where even me, I got so low that I had reached that point. And I had to quicken myself. I'm talking about a pastor. And I think people don't understand this, that everyone has a point
in their life
where when, not just when you're doing something, but when you trying hard, when you're trying to put things together. And what we have to be able to do is we have to be able to be there for people who reach that place to talk them off of the edge of jumping, right? Because I was on the edge of jumping. Somebody's on the edge of just pulling out a gun and running down saying, well, I tried it the right way. It didn't seem like it worked out. So let me go do this because I know this will work.
And, it's very funny because we on this topic. You remember the guy at the bus station made a statement. You know, he made that same statement.
I was thinking about that.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
I'm on the verge.
Yep.
You know, and it's crazy because I understand it.
And by one's understanding that, a brother like that, then the ones you need to try to
exactly.
so they won't.
Exactly.
You know, just hearing about it and just, you know, and they ain't doing no good. You got to have a remedy that, you know, ones out here that understand what, like you said, and a lot of others out here understand. Especially as black man. You know, you got to grab hold of one. Even that brother say he'll father.
Yep.
So
he's got 4 kids.
4 children. So at the same time, being there, you been there. So the question is, supposed to grab a whole brother like that, you know, and show them what even we create our own workplace
opportunity. Well, actually, he extended a hand, told the brother to come down. It'll be up to that brother to come down.
And that's the bottom line.
You know, because all you can do is extend that hand. Yep. I extended that hand. That means, come on, I'm welcoming you with open arms. Now, if you chose to come down here, okay, then I'm gonna help you in every means that I can.
Yep.
But if you don't, what can I do? You know, we can walk around the whole community and talk to everybody about their problems. We only can give suggestions.
They got to make the steps.
They got to make the steps.
Yep.
They got to make the steps.
And let's see what happens. Now, having said that, we've had a lot of people step up in here, and y'all seen them. We've had a lot of people step up in here that I think all of us would agree is giving us some headway. You know, we've got some people that we've given them sort of a list of things to do. Some need to get the state-issued ID. Some need to get their birth certificates. Some need to get, you know, before they get their GED, some need to get their GED. We had one guy that needs to get his high school equivalency diploma because he wants to be a barber. So we call a barber school. The barber school says as soon as he gets that, let's get him in. As soon as he gets that barber certificate, we got chairs waiting on him. But it's a process. And until they take that one step in that journey, along that journey, we can talk all day long. We can suggest all day long. Until they take those steps, they're going to stay where they are, frustrated and hitting the effort quotient. So, because clearly for me, if I'd have stayed where my mind was, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm doing right now. So I had to take some steps to change my situation.
And not only that, though, you know, like, I'm just visualizing. If we had the ground zero available, which this part of ground zero, what we see in the epicenter, you know, people just need to come down and see what we got to offer.
Right. That's the bottom line.
That's just the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
You'll never know till you find out.
Yep. And you got to take that step to come see. So we're done. We're going to conclude this. I just wanted to share what we had experienced in our walk. I think many of y'all have heard and understand kind of where we are with this whole piece in terms of wanting to invite as many people as possible to come down here, sit with our intake folk. There's 3 of them sitting over there right now, smiling at me, waiting on somebody to walk in. Sister Jenkins, Sister Sarah Richmond, yeah, Sister Little Laura, they sitting over there right now waiting on people to come in, right? That's what we're here for. So, and I'm going to steal it from you. Closed mouth don't get fed. Closed mouth don't get fed. Don't be sitting up there complaining and then not doing something about it if we over here ready to help. All right? All right, Brother Charles, Brother Mark, Brother Jordan, my man over there engineering, Brother Steve, helping us out. Hopefully y'all hearing some music in the background. I don't know if you are or not. Jordan said he's working on the music in the background. He said he gave me the thumbs up, so praise God. We're gonna clock out, and again, send somebody down to the epicenter if you know they need some support tonight. Pregnant now, 5 to 7, baby boot camp for new dads tonight. Come on out. God bless y'all. Peace.